Welcome to Vivid Verses. If our words resonate with you, please subscribe, tap the like, and share your thoughts and your feelings in the comments. Now let's begin. The silence in the kitchen was usually my favorite part of Saturday mornings. It was the time before the chaos of the weekend truly settled in, where the sunlight hit the granite countertops of the house I'd spent 3 years renovating, and the smell of freshly ground Colombian roast, Rose's favorite, filled the air. But today, the silence wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, like the air before a thunderstorm. Rose stood at the island, her back to me, aggressively chopping strawberries. The knife hit the cutting board with a rhythm that suggested I was the one being diced. "She needs some money, Jamie," Rose said, her voice tight. She didn't turn around. I sat at the table, staring at the bank alert on my phone. She spent $600 at Sephora on Tuesday, Rose. It's Saturday. She's asking for another $300 for brunch and an Uber. It's a friend's birthday, Rose countered, scraping the berries into a bowl. She finally turned, her eyes tired but defensive. You know how hard this year has been for her. Kayla, my stepdaughter, 18 years old, beautiful, intelligent, and currently rotting from the inside out due to a complete lack of responsibility. Since graduating high school 6 months ago, she had treated our home like a hotel and her mother like an infinite ATM. The year is hard because she has no structure, I said, keeping my voice level. I'm not trying to be the villain here. I'm saying that if she wants $300 for a single afternoon, she should earn it. The cafe on 4th is hiring. I saw the sign. She's sensitive, Jamie. You know she has anxiety. I have anxiety about our savings account, I muttered. The stairs creaked. Kayla descended, wearing silk pajamas that probably cost more than my first car. She had her mother's dark curls and, unfortunately, her father's manipulative pout. She held her phone like a weapon. "Are we fighting about me again?" she asked, yawning theatrically. "No one is fighting," Rose said quickly, wiping her hands on a towel. "Jamie was just worried about the budget." Kayla looked at me, her eyes narrowing. There was a coldness there that hadn't existed 3 years ago when I married Rose. Back then, I was the cool stepfather. Now I was the obstacle. "I can just ask my dad," Kayla said, knowing full well her biological father hadn't sent a check in 6 months. "No," Rose said, pulling her wallet out of her purse. "Here, take the debit card. Just try to keep it under 200, okay, sweetie?" I stood up. The chair scraped loudly against the hardwood. "Rose, stop." Rose froze, the card hovering between them. "If you give her that card," I said, looking my wife in the eye, "you are telling her that money appears by magic." I lined up an interview for her at the architectural firm, just for the front desk. Filing, answering phones. Part-time. She didn't show up. Kayla scoffed. "That place smells like dust and old men. It's gross." "It's a job," I said. "And until you get one, the faucet is off." "That's reasonable, Kayla. That's life." Kayla turned to her mother, her lower lip trembling. It was a masterclass in acting. "Mom, are you going to let him talk to me like I'm a parasite? I'm trying to figure out who I am." "It doesn't mean it like that," Rose pleaded, caught in the middle. She looked at me, begging me with her eyes to just let it go, to just pay the toll so we could have a peaceful weekend. But I couldn't. I loved Rose too much to watch her be bled dry, and I respected Kayla too much to watch her turn into a useless person. "I do mean it," I said. "Get a job, Kayla. Or the next time you ask for money, the answer is no. And Rose, if you give her that card, you're undermining our marriage." I walked out. I needed air. I needed a drive. The drive to the construction site was usually my therapy. I was a structural engineer. I made sure things didn't fall down. There was a comfort in the physics of it. Concrete had a breaking point. Steel had a tensile strength. People were messy, eh? I pulled into the muddy lot of the Vanguard project, a 30-story mixed-use high-rise that was currently giving me ulcers. The skeleton of the building rose into the gray sky, a grid of iron and potential. "You look like you chewed on a lemon and swallowed the rind," a voice called out. It was Toby, the junior site manager. He was 24, wore a neon vest that was 2 sizes too big, and had the energy of a golden retriever that had just discovered caffeine. "Morning, Toby," I grunted, grabbing my hard hat from the back seat. "The concrete pour on level 10 is looking sketchy," Toby said, falling into step beside me. "Bubbles. Lots of them." I told the foreman, "Hey, this looks like Swiss cheese," and he told me to go play in traffic. "Show me," I said. We took the construction elevator up. The wind whipped through the open girders. For 3 hours, I inspected the pour, argued with the foreman, and recalculated load distributions on my tablet. It was stressful, technical work, but it was honest. When a beam failed, it didn't gaslight you. It just broke. By the time I wrapped up, it was late afternoon. I checked my phone. No text from Rose. That was bad. Usually, she'd send a peace offering, a picture of the dog, or a suggestion for dinner. The silence was punitive. I drove home with a pit in my stomach. I resolved to apologize for the tone, but not the message. We needed to be a united front. I pulled into the driveway. My heart stopped. There were suitcases on the lawn. My suitcases. 3 of them, thrown haphazardly onto the wet grass. My vintage guitar case, a Gibson I'd restored myself, was lying face down in the dirt. I parked the car, the engine ticking as it cooled. I walked up the driveway, feeling like I was moving through water. I tried the front door. Locked. I tried the code on the smart lock. Access denied. I rang the doorbell. Minutes passed. Finally, the door opened a crack. The chain was still on. Rose stood there. Her face wasn't just angry. It was a mask of cold fury I had never seen before. Her eyes were red and puffy. "Rose," I reached out, confused. "What is this? Why are my things outside?" "I want you to leave," she whispered. Her voice shook. "What? Because of the argument this morning?" "Honey, that's insane. Let me in, we can talk." "Don't you dare call me honey," she hissed. "Kayla told me everything." "Told you what?" "That I told her to get a job." Rose slammed her hand against the doorframe. "She told me what you did when I went to the store. She told me how you cornered her, how you grabbed her arm and threatened to throw her out on the street if she didn't obey you." My jaw dropped. "What?" "Rose, I left. I went straight to the site. I haven't been here." She was shaking, Jamie. "She was hiding in the closet when I got back. She said you got physical, that you shoved her against the wall." The world tilted on its axis. "Rose, that is a lie. A complete, total lie. Check the security cameras. Check my GPS. The cameras were off, Jamie. She said you turned them off. I didn't touch the cameras. She probably unplugged the router." Rose, have I ever, in 3 years, raised a hand to anyone? Look at me. I don't even know who I'm looking at." Rose spat, tears streaming down her face. "My daughter is terrified of you. I chose you over my first husband, but I will not choose you over my child. Get your things. If you're not gone in 10 minutes, I'm calling the police." "Rose, please. Just listen to me. She's lying because I cut her off. Go," she screamed and slammed the door. I stood there, staring at the wood grain. I heard the deadbolt slide home. I looked at my suitcases on the lawn. I looked at the neighbor's curtains twitching across the street. I didn't bang on the door. I didn't scream. A cold, hard realization settled over me like a layer of frost. She didn't ask. She didn't hesitate. She took the word of a teenager who had lied about everything from homework to car accidents over the man she had shared a bed with for 3 years. I walked down the steps. I picked up my guitar case and checked it. A small scratch, but intact. I loaded the bags into my truck. I took one last look at the house. I saw the curtains in the upstairs window move. Kayla was watching. I got in the truck and drove away. Marcus lived in a loft downtown that smelled of expensive leather and bachelorhood, despite the fact that he'd been married to Alara for 10 years. It was the high ceilings. They just made everything feel temporary. She said what? Marcus asked, handing me a tumbler of scotch. He was wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt that said, "I bill in 6-minute increments." I sat on his massive leather sectional, staring at the city lights. She said I cornered Kayla, shoved her, threatened her. Alara walked in from the kitchen with a plate of hastily made nachos. She was a psychologist, which was usually annoying, but right now I needed it. And Rose just believed it. Alara asked, setting the plate down. "Zero investigation?" "Zero," I said. Locked the door. Threw my clothes in the dirt. Marcus took a sip of his drink, his eyes darkening. He wasn't just my best friend. He was a shark of a divorce attorney. You know what this is, right? This isn't just a fight. This is a constructive eviction. I don't want to sue her or Marcus. I love her. You love the version of her that existed in your head, Marcus said bluntly. The version who trusts you. That woman back there? The one who thinks you're a child abuser based on the word of a known liar? That's the real Rose. Or at least, that's Rose when her trauma button gets pushed. Kayla is good, I admitted. She knew exactly what to say. Rose's ex, Kayla's dad, was aggressive. Kayla tapped into that history. Alara sat next to me. It's a triangulation dynamic. Kayla feels her position as the primary object of Rose's affection is threatened by you holding her accountable. So, she nuked the threat. It's pathological, Jamie. I rub my temples. So what do? Sleep on your couch for a week until Rose calms down. Marcus swirled his ice. You can stay as long as you want. But if you go back there without a massive structural change in that relationship, you're just waiting for the next lie. Next time, Kayla might call the cops herself. You could be looking at assault charges, Jamie. This isn't a game. That night, I slept in their guest room. It was quiet. No fighting. No walking on eggshells. 2 weeks passed. I fell into a routine. I want to work early. I stayed late. The Vanguard building was going up floor by floor. We fixed the concrete issue, bad mix ratio, and the skeleton was becoming a skyscraper. I lived out of my suitcase at Marcus's. We developed a rhythm. Tuesday was taco night. Thursday, Marcus and I played squash at his club, where I smashed the ball into the wall with enough force to scare the other players. You're visualizing the stepdaughter, aren't you? Marcus asked during a break, wiping sweat from his forehead. I'm visualizing the wasted years, I said. Have you heard from Rose? Radio silence. Good. Let her simmer. We're preparing a file, just in case. I told you, I'm not filing. Ideally, no, but I'm drafting the separation agreement. Asset division. The house is in her name, but you paid for the remodel. That's equity, Jamie. You put 200 grand into that kitchen she kicked you out of. I want to work the next day, feeling hollow. Toby was waiting for me by the side trailer, looking unusually somber. Hey, boss. You okay? You've been wearing the same 3 shirts for 2 weeks. I looked down at my flannel. Is it that obvious? The guys are taking bets, Toby said. Half say you're on a secret mission. Half say your wife kicked you out. I put 20 on secret mission, so don't let me down. I managed a dry chuckle. You lost $20, Toby. Toby winced. Ouch. Sorry, man. Women, right? My girlfriend broke up with me last week because she dreamed I cheated on her. Dreams count as evidence now, apparently. Apparently, I said. That afternoon, I sat in the trailer, looking at the blueprints. I traced the lines of the load-bearing walls. If you remove a load-bearing wall, the house collapses. Trust was the load-bearing wall. It wasn't the love. Love was just the paint. Trust was the steel. Rose had removed the steel. I picked up my phone. I scrolled through my photos. Pictures of us in Cabo. Pictures of us at Christmas. Then, a picture of Kayla smirking at the camera while holding a new iPhone I had bought her. I deleted the photo of Kayla. Then, I hovered over the photos of Rose. I didn't delete them, but I closed the app. Week 4. I was at a bar with Marcus and Alara. It was a jazz place, loud enough to drown out thoughts, quiet enough to talk. She posted on Facebook, Alara said, looking at her phone. She knew she shouldn't, but she couldn't help it. Don't tell me, I said. It's a picture of her and Kayla at a spa, Alara said, ignoring me. Caption, just the two of us. Healing, I scoffed, from the trauma of me asking her to get a job. You look better, though, Marcus said. You've lost weight. You look sharper. I feel numb, I said, but the fog is lifting. I realized something today. I was walking through the grocery store, and I didn't have to check my phone to see if I was buying the right brand of almond milk. I just bought the milk I wanted. Freedom is in the dairy aisle, Marcus toasted. It's not just that, I said. I realized that for 3 years, I've been auditioning for the role of husband and father, and I never got the part. I was just the understudy who paid the bills. My phone buzzed on the table. The screen lit up. Rose. The table went silent. The jazz saxophone seemed to screech to a halt. Don't answer it, Marcus said immediately. Let it go to voicemail, Alara agreed. I stared at the screen. My heart hammered against my ribs. I wanted to answer. I wanted to hear her voice. I wanted her to say she was sorry, that she found out the truth, that she loved me. The ringing stopped. A minute later, a voicemail notification popped up. I picked up the phone. I'm going to listen to it. I put the phone to my ear. Hi, Jamie. It's me. It's been a month. The house is really quiet. Look, I've been doing a lot of thinking. Kayla and I have been talking. We're willing to move past this. I'm calling to see if you've reflected on your behavior. If you're ready to apologize to her, sincerely apologize, and agree to some new house rules, we could talk about you coming home. Call me. I lowered the phone. Well, Marcus asked. I looked at my friend. I looked at his wife. I looked at the whiskey in my glass. She wants to know if I've reflected on my behavior, I said softly. She wants an apology. She wants an apology? Alara looked ready to flip the table. For what? For existing. She's willing to let me come back, I said, if I follow new rules. Something inside me snapped. It wasn't a loud snap. It was the quiet click of a lock engaging, the final bolt sliding into place. I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. Marcus, I said, turning to him. Those papers you drafted. Yeah. Marcus sat up straighter. Are they ready? I just need to date them and print them. Print them, I said. We're going over there tomorrow. The next morning was a Saturday. The irony wasn't lost on me. Exactly 1 month since the strawberry incident. I dressed in my best suit. Not a work suit. My charcoal, gray-tailored suit. I shaved. I put on my watch. Marcus picked me up in his sedan. He was wearing his courtroom suit. He carried a leather briefcase. You sure about this? Marcus asked as we turned into my subdivision. Once you serve her, it's a bomb. Hard to put the pin back in. She threw me out like trash. Marcus. She chose a lie over marriage. If I go back now, on her terms, I'm not a husband. I'm a servant. I'm done serving. We pulled into the driveway. The grass was overgrown. The flower beds I used to tend every weekend were full of weeds. The gutter was hanging loose on the left side. I had meant to fix that. It looked like a house that was slowly letting go. We walked to the door. I didn't use my key. I rang the bell. I could hear movement inside. The door opened. Rose stood there. She was wearing sweatpants and an old t-shirt. She looked tired. When she saw me, her face lit up with a mixture of relief and triumph. She thought I was there to beg. Then she saw Marcus. And the suit. Her smile faltered. Jamie, she said. I didn't expect you to bring company. Hello, Rose, I said. My voice was steady. You asked if I had reflected. Yes, she said, crossing her arms, trying to regain the high ground. And? Did you? I did, I said. I reflected on the last 3 years. I reflected on how I treated Kayla like my own daughter, paid for her tuition, her car, and her lifestyle. I reflected on how, when she fabricated a malicious lie about me, you didn't ask me a single question. You just executed the sentence. Rose's face hardened. She didn't lie. She was traumatized. And you're not helping by showing up here with him. She gestured at Marcus. I'm here, Marcus said smoothly, stepping forward as Jamie's legal counsel. Rose went pale. What? You asked for an apology, I said. I don't have one, but I do have this. I nodded to Marcus. He opened a briefcase and pulled out a thick envelope. He handed it to Rose. You've been served, Marcus said. Petition for divorce. We're asking for an equitable split of assets, including the reimbursement for the renovation costs Jamie fronted and the return of personal property. Rose held the envelope like it was radioactive. Divorce? You're divorcing me? Because I protected my daughter? No, I said. Because you abandoned your husband. You broke the contract, Rose. Not me. But I love you, she stammered, the reality crashing down on her. I just wanted you to acknowledge her feelings. You wanted me to confess to a crime I didn't commit, I said. I'm not doing that. Who is it, Mom? Kayla appeared in the hallway. She was holding a bowl of cereal. She looked at me, then at Marcus, then at the envelope in Rose's hand. He's serving us papers, Rose whispered, her voice trembling. He's leaving us, Kayla. Kayla's spoon dropped into the bowl with a clatter. She looked at me. She expected to see the man who would always fold, the man who would always pay. She saw a stranger. You can't do that, Kayla said, her voice rising. Mom, tell me can't do that. Who's going to pay for the house? Who's going to pay for my car insurance? That's something you and your mother will have to figure out, I said. Maybe you can get that job at the cafe now. Jamie, please. Rose stepped forward, grabbing my sleeve. Let's talk. Please. Maybe I reacted too quickly. Maybe we can go to counseling. It's too late, I said, gently removing her hand from my arm. I can't live in a house where I'm one accusation away from homelessness. It wasn't a lie. Kayla screamed, rushing to the door. He hit me. He did. I looked at Kayla. I didn't feel anger anymore. I just felt pity. Marcus, I said, did we include the exhibit regarding the security system? We did, Marcus said. I looked at Rose. I lied to you the day I left, Rose. Or rather, I omitted something. I didn't turn off the cameras. The internet was down, so they didn't upload to the cloud. But they record to a local SD card in the base station. I have the footage from that afternoon. The color drained from Kayla's face so fast she looked like a ghost. I had Marcus pull the logs. I continued. The footage shows me coming home, walking into the kitchen, drinking a glass of water, and walking out. Kayla was on the couch the whole time, watching TV. I never went near her. Rose froze. She turned slowly to look at her daughter. Kayla was backing away. You said he cornered you, Rose whispered. You said he grabbed you. He was being mean. Kayla burst out, tears erupting. He was going to cut me off. I just wanted him to go away for a while. I didn't think he'd actually leave. Mom, you have to fix it. Don't let him take the money. The silence that followed was absolute. Rose looked at her daughter, really looked at her for the first time in years. She saw the manipulation. She saw the selfishness. She saw the wreckage of her own enabling. Then she looked at me. Her eyes were filled with a horror and regret so deep it was painful to witness. Jamie, she choked out. Oh my God. Jamie, I'm so sorry. Throw the papers away. Please, come inside. We'll fix this. I'll deal with her. She reached for me again. I looked at the open door. I looked at the woman I had loved. I can't, I said. Why, she sobbed. She confessed. You were right. We can fix it. Because you didn't need the truth to throw me out, I said. You only needed her word. And that means you never really knew me at all. I turned around. Let's go, Marcus. We walked down the driveway. Behind us, I heard Rose screaming at Kayla. I heard Kayla crying, a raw, panicked sound of a child realizing the safety net was gone. I reached the car and got in. "You okay?" Marcus asked as he started the engine. I looked at the house one last time. It was a beautiful house. I had put a lot of work into it, but the foundation was bad. "I'm okay," I said, and for the first time in a month, I meant it. "I'm hungry. Let's get a burger." "Way ahead of you," Marcus said, shifting into gear. As we drove away, I didn't look back in the rearview mirror. I looked forward at the road, at the city skyline where the Vanguard building was rising, steel and concrete, strong and true. I had a lot of work to do, and I was finally free to do it. Thank you for listening. That brings today's story to a close. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. See you next time.